Sports talk conversations with a good laugh mixed in. This is the Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Hey, don't forget to join the Red Raider Club. If you haven't, you may just didn't think of it, but you need to join. You're a Red Raider. You support Texas Tech. You need to be a part of the Red Raider Club. At some level, join them, be a part. Foundational to our athletics. Over 400 athletes benefit, and you'll get some benefits by joining.
Yeah, and you do not have to have gone to Texas Tech to be a member of the Red Raider Club.
You can join up and be a member.
Like David said, you just got to be a Red Raider. And you can be a Red Raider with not getting a degree out there. They
get you some decals and stuff to put on your vehicle, and it's great. Did you come up here on your tractor? Did I tell you? Hector Limon, he's going into the Lubbock ISD Athletic Hall of Honor on the 27th of July. He's a former tremendous athlete from Estacado High School. He was all-state in football and baseball. How many guys have done that? And then played for LCU and had a great career there and coached many years. But I want you to tell the story about his experience at Estacado in the state tournament and how many times he went there as a player and coach and the whole deal. But Hector, we're honored to have you here. Congratulations on being selected to the Lubbock ISD Athletic Hall of Honor.
Thank you.
It's a big deal.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm very honored. Thank you for having me here, first of all, this morning. And thanks to LISD for that consideration. I think just being very kind about it, I guess, because there's been many great athletes come through Estacado and through the other high schools in town, including Dunbar. So you had 5 major high schools at one time. But I am honored. I'm blessed. I'm very thankful. You were talking about the state tournament. We kind of restarted the program back up. I say we because I was a part of that first class. But Vince Buffamani came over from Lubbock High School, and he's the only guy that could beat Magel out of district championships.
What a piece of work he was.
He was awesome.
God, I coached with him at Lubbock High.
Did you?
Yeah,
okay.
I was coaching, and we'd go just sit over and talk to him, listen to him talk stupid.
Oh,
it was something.
Hey, he believed he could do a lot of things.
And he did.
In his mind,
Where'd he wind up?
He wound up in the Houston area.
Oh, okay.
Wound up finishing his career there. He's passed away since then. But
are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
But
we said Michael Douglas had died earlier today.
Is that right?
Somebody named Michael died, and he was 72.
We're counting him. No, but he came and restarted the program in 79, 78, 79, 79, 80, 80, 81, 81, 82. Those were my 4 years.
I'd have come over there, too, if I'd have had Hector Limon playing for me.
Well, I was going to go to Lubbock High.
You were?
But I played out at Southern Pony League, and my father and Vince were good friends, and they talked all the time, and we were planning on going to Lubbock High.
I loved Southern Little League.
Yes.
They had that 10-foot wooden fence.
Well, and it was probably about, 300 feet. No, 280 down the lines or something like that. And it was a good hitter's ballpark sure.
That's a neat place to play.
I think that's where I probably impressed him a little bit by hitting those 280-foot shots.
It was over the fence, wasn't it?
Yeah. But, I enjoyed playing for him. My father was very impressed with him. And you had to have known Vince.
Where was he from? He seemed like he was a Yankee.
Yes, he was from the New York area.
Yeah.
I think from Brooklyn.
Yeah, you could tell.
And went to Eastern New Mexico.
I wonder how he wound up in Lubbock, Texas at
I
Lubbock
can't even
High.
remember.
Well, he played for Eastern, I think, Eastern New Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Well, that got him to this part of the world.
Yes, and then he wound up in Lubbock. But, that's kind of that story. We're going to play for him at Lubbock High. He winds up starting the program back up at Estacado, and my dad was like, yeah.
He might be a guy that we need to consider for the Hall of Honor. I mean, for what he did at Estacado. I don't remember Lubbock. I could go back and look. But
Lubbock, he
beat Monterey.
Yeah, his trying to think what year that would have been, like 76.
I can't remember.
Yeah, Magel didn't win the district in 60 one year, in the 70s one year, and I think in the 80s one year, and Buffamonte's the one that beat him in the 70s.
And was always on his heels.
Yeah.
But, that's when he had like Kenny Toney and players like that, and they wound up at Lubbock Christian as well, playing for another great one. So.
Well, you've had an absolutely phenomenal. I don't know whether you were a better football player or a better baseball player.
I enjoyed playing football a lot, but I loved playing baseball. I'll tell you that. One thing I learned about football when I first went to Estacado, I was not going to play football at all. Zero. I was in off-season baseball that first year.
Now, were you big like you are now?
Yes.
Big old solid guy?
And Coach Romero at Estacado he's like, well, he was Vince's assistant, so he'd be, every day is like, come on. And Romero had the JV club.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was a consistent deal, and I was like, no, I'm just here to play baseball. I'm
just here to play baseball.
That's it.
What district did you live in?
Did you live in
No,
Estacado?
we lived over in in the Arnett. It was Clayton Carter edition over by Arnett Elementary, and that is Estacado.
Okay, you were legit.
We were, but we actually moved there. We were in the Lubbock High district.
Okay,
we actually physically moved. My dad moved.
So you go to Estacado?
Yes.
Wow.
So
that was Jerry Gray. Was he at? No, he's a
year older than me.
Year older than you.
Mm-hmm.
So you were probably buddies with Jerry Gray.
Well, I was. He's a good person all the way around. If you were going to play football there, you had to learn how to move your feet real quick and hit somebody before you got hit. That's for sure. I learned that real quick.
Did you get your bell rung right there out the gate?
Early, and then after a while, I started bringing it to everybody else. But it just takes a little bit to learn.
Yeah.
You can't have stagnant feet. You got to move them in order to create a collision. Otherwise you're going to be
to create a collision.
You're going to be on the negative end of that. But no, I learned that real quick. With I'm going to tell you something. Mike Chatham, our middle linebacker, he would wear you out. He did not wait till people entered that second level. I mean, he met you up there.
Come get you.
Yes.
I coached Mike Chatham in mob basketball. We got to be good friends through the years, and I'd get out there and practice with him, and I could play basketball. And he's like 12 or 11 or something, and he's bringing it to me.
Yes.
I mean, I can't stop him.
Hey, and he on the football field, there were several times where that helmet came off. And, I mean, not coming to the sideline to take a break. I mean, on the field where he would hit people so hard. We always I remember Prof and the other managers and trainers and managers had to always have extra equipment for him because he
breaks his equipment.
He would bring it. I mean, he could move his
Bob
feet
Ramos is who he's talking about, Prof.
Yeah.
Who was there all those years with those were great years at Estacado. They really were.
They were.
And it all started with the 68 team, which it just blows you away. They stayed their first year of playing varsity football.
Exactly.
And Estacado's had a great run in athletics. And you were a huge part of that in the 80s, late 70s and the early 80s. And
what are the best teams you were on?
Baseball, football-wise?
Both, either way.
High school?
Yeah.
Well, we started that program in 78, 79, so we weren't very good the first year, but Buff always had us playing good competition, established competition, so we got beat a bit.
Well,
but
you were all district, first team all city, newcomer of the year, first team all South Plains in 79.
Mm-hmm.
At shortstop, you played shortstop all 4 years?
Yes.
At Estacado.
Yes. But we always played that, higher competition, higher level as far as the starting program. And our sophomore year, we win district.
Yeah.
As a bunch of sophomores, I think we had like 8 sophomores and 6 of us started. So
went to the area that year, got an area final. That was second round of the playoffs. But in 81, 4A champions, quarterfinal champions. regional champions, state runner-up. Now tell everybody these state because you had an amazing career as a coach and a player.
Yes, well, in 81, 82, those 2 school years, it was expected. We go into the state tournament expecting to win it, of course, but had a couple of mishaps. But nonetheless, when you win 25 to 32 ball games, I think a year, you're probably going to wind up in the state tournament. And we did that those 2 years. After that.
But you got beat. Tell who you played down there in the state tournament.
Well, we beat McKinney in the first round, in the semifinal.
Okay.
And then we got beat by South San West. Williamson was their big guy, and I think he was like 14-0 or something.
What was the score? It was a close game.
They beat us 3-2.
3-2 for the
Whatever
state
happened
champ.
to him? Did he go to UT?
I want to say
Did
he
go
went
to
to
OU?
Pan Am University at
Okay.
that time.
All right.
But we're leading 2-1 going into the 5th or the 6th, something like that, and
They hit a ball to the shortstop.
should have been up four.
Oh.
Should have been up 3-1. Give us a little bit of a cushion breather there, but had another mishap where a runner didn't score and stuff like that. But
His name will remain anonymous.
But no, he should have scored, but he didn't. And anyway, so
Did he miss the base? Did he trip? Did he run the wrong direction?
But anyway, what happens? I think we get 2 outs. They get runners at second and third with 2 outs, and they hit a Texas leaguer out in that triangle, second base, right field.
Yeah.
First base, second base, right field triangle.
Yeah.
It's a Texas leaguer. It's flaring out. It's got side spin and stuff, and you're like, man, we're fixing to win this thing. And it finds turf, and they score 2 and go up 3-2.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And in the bottom half, I think we were the visitors, so we couldn't score in that bottom part, and that was it.
It takes a little bit of luck to win a state championship.
That ball, you see it. I still see it today. It's like it's flaring out.
It's been haunting you all these years.
That spin, and I'm like, man, the guy, great pitch,
Yeah.
Good job on the mound. But anyway, hats off to them. They win it. And then the following year, we go and get beat in the first round. Let's see, who beat us in the first round? That was they wound up winning it all.
I don't have
the
it.
Next day. It'll come to me here in a little bit.
So 2 years in a row, the team that won state eliminated y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That first year that he went down there, that was the year that Pearland with Bratcher was playing Monterey, and Nate Swindle
Yes. And
ended up beating somebody. I can't remember.
Right.
I think it was Nate, but
they beat Smastrela. And
Yeah.
Greg Smostrela, Mark Mickna, who came to Tech.
Yeah, Mickna was a good one too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good.
And Bratcher was the coach.
Good ball club. I'm watching that game, and
Wasn't it like at 1 in the morning or something?
Yeah, 'cause it
Didn't
rained.
it
push
rained
back
consecutively. We had to stay like 2 or 3 extra nights.
Yeah.
LISD had to fit that.
And
bill.
Magel would go back to Lubbock for his camp and then go back to Austin.
Wow.
No way.
Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah.
How about that?
That was
story.
crazy. And then the
That's
third
the story.
time we went was
Yeah.
as a coach there in 2010.
That was the year that they won basketball state championship.
Was it
Coach
10
Wagner.
or 10? Was it 10?
It was 10.
Okay.
They won the state championship. Kevin Wagner was on that team. Tony's
Was it
boy.
2010 though?
Yeah, not 1910. It was 2010.
2010.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, I'm going to go with Hector. He was there. You were the baseball
2010.
coach?
I think it was. Pretty sure.
They may have won it that year. I can't remember. I know they went quite a bit in that.
Yeah.
They had a good run, and
did.
I thought they won it in 2009, but you're probably right.
They got there in 2009. I think they got beat in the finals.
You keep up with that a lot more than I do.
Well, I was
but-
there doing the game.
Well,
Okay.
the 2009 football year would be the 2010 basketball year, so
Yeah.
that might be.
Okay.
All right, so you went in 2010 as a coach. You were the head coach of the Estacado Matador. How many years were you the head coach at Estacado?
9.
9 years.
And then I assisted for 6.
And you were football assistant and baseball head coach.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
So 15 years at Estacado as a coach. Wow.
Yes. 15 years as a coach.
All right, tell us about the state when you got there, 2010.
2010, we play Pleasant Grove, and we get beat 5-4. We're up 4-1 going into the 5th. And our left fielder, who was a freshman, a talented kid, man, I would put him back out there again. But they had their best hitter, which was Waka at the plate, left-handed hitter, and didn't have a lot of power to left, to opposite side, but he could yank it. So, I'm trying to bring in our left fielder a little bit, and I'm like, if he smokes one, it's going to be on the line. So, be ready to play something tough. Yeah. And so anyway, he sinking line drive, sure enough, and he goes after it, and we miss it.
It got by him.
Oh,
Runners at first, it's like runners juice. So anyway, bases juice.
Hector Limon is here
it's a
with
fine
us.
line down there in Austin.
It is.
Former athlete.
Without a doubt.
Great at Estacado. Former coach at Estacado. LCU great in baseball. All-state football, baseball. And
well, and here's the deal. Very humble about this this award you're getting. But if I'm you, and we'll talk about this when we come back, I think I'd have been looking at it going, why am I not in the Hall of Fame here, guys?
already.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll talk about that when we come back.
No, we won't.
About how Hector feels like he was slighted for all these years that
We'll
he
be
should
right
have been
back.
in it.
Well, he deserves it, no doubt.
Sports talk conversations with a good laugh mixed in. This is the Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
If you got a check that's all wadded up, they can even cash that one if you'll go in.
I took one out of my golf bag, and I thought, I don't need to go through the drive-thru with this particular check. I think something's jiggy up. So I went in face-to-face with her.
Yeah, they can do it at Plains Capital. Hey, Hector Limon's here with us, and he grew up here in Lubbock, Texas, and, of course, he remembers the old sporting goods stores, the old Cardinals downtown. Probably remember Holt Sporting Goods over there on University, and Oshman's. Remember when Oshman's was
wow.
here?
Sure enough.
They're gone, but the Cardinals Sports Center's still here. You've got to have been in the new Cardinals. Does it blow you away, Hector, when you walk? It's just phenomenal.
It is
All right.
so nice.
Now, the
Yes.
new Cardinals has been there how long?
Yeah, well,
That's like the new box at Monterey.
the new box.
They
in
call it the
Monterey.
new box, and it's been there like 40 years,
A long
35
time.
years.
True.
But that's a special place.
It is.
When you go in there. They can do everything, equipment, trophies, everything. In fact, one of the trophies that you're going to get at this Hall of Honor induction ceremony comes,
Awesome.
Cardinals does them for us, and it's blow you away.
You talk about a big time award. It's a good looking.
It is a big time
good
award.
looking trophy.
It is.
Like that.
All right, so Hector's going into the Hall of Honor on July the 27th at the Civic Center. And you're going to be there, aren't you?
You bet.
And you're going to drive your tractor? You
I
said you
might
were driving
bring
a
JD
tractor.
with me.
You're driving a tractor. You're
Yes.
doing a little farming?
We do. We just kind of piddle around out at the farm a little bit.
Yeah.
Mainly fix buildings and, things that there's always a lot of work to do out there.
So are you out of athletics altogether?
I think so.
All right.
I had to think about that.
You may come back.
Yeah.
No grandkids or anything?
Just kind of piddle with my granddaughters a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, whenever
Are they
I
going
can.
to be athletes?
I
or
think
they-
a couple of them are.
Yeah.
A couple of them kind of got started late, and they're very athletic. But if we can get them caught up, they'll have.
How old are they?
Oh goodness, we have 10 grandkids.
Oh,
so
gosh.
anywhere from 14 to 2 weeks. We just had a little girl.
2 weeks.
Yes.
To yesterday.
Little girl. My daughter-in-law brought her to the house the other night. She was 2 weeks old, and she is already full head of hair and everything. Just,
Well, you're going to need lots of seats at the banquet, aren't you?
I think so. A few. I'm thinking just for our family.
Yeah,
I'm sure. And
I
then
know it.
we were
Good thing you
thinking
don't
of-
have any friends.
We were we were thinking of other people that, of course, everybody else that needs to be there.
Well, speaking of friends, Archie, you leave Estacado and you go to Lubbock Christian. Were you on the national championship team?
Yes.
All right. Well, let's talk about that, and then that's national championships and state championships, stuff like it, bring a team closer together. So
No doubt.
probably got a lot of those guys that you still hang out with.
No doubt. And then having coached there, I guess, for 3 years as well here in the last 6 years or so, you just get to see people like Jesse Benavides coming out to the yard. Coach Viney still hangs out. He does his walking out
Charlie
there.
Viney?
Yes.
Wow.
Just I see Randy every now and then.
How about
Randy,
the fellow that had the one arm? Is he still alive? But he was out there all the time back in the
I'm not
80s
sure.
and 90s. Okay.
I'm not sure. But
What are you talking about? A player?
No, a
just a
fan.
fan.
Yeah, fan, supporter.
I guess, I'm getting up there in age, so
Yeah.
there's quite a few of us missing, and there will be that'll continue to happen. And I think I cherish when I see Benavides and I see Viney and people like that. It just makes me feel good, that.
How about Ledbetter?
Yes, I've seen Randy a little
he's
bit.
still around.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of some more guys that were on that team. Who were some other guys on that team?
Gary Hicks.
Gosh, Gary Hicks.
He's coaching at Trinity now.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Bob Henson.
Henson.
God.
Well, he started out at UT.
Yes.
And Larry got him and another guy or two from the UT. They played on Rip's summer team, and Larry sort of brought them into the fold.
And literally, Bob's knuckles would drag
Yeah.
the floor. You remember how?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Long
And he's
old
pretty
arms.
tall.
I think he's like 6'7", 6'8", somewhere in there.
Yeah, he was
And
tall. And
Had that wingspan.
Yes.
You played first base and DH your first year.
Yes.
The national championship team.
Right.
Did you get you were playing?
Yes. That fall was pretty competitive.
You're a freshman.
I remember that freshman class there at LCU. Larry got like Gary Beard, Jay Lindstrom.
He played Coronado.
Yes.
Beard from Coronado, too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The little left-hander.
Yeah.
He got Rick Dillman, who closed out the national championship game. Joe Benavides. Myself, Phil Bryant from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma.
Okay. Oh, my gosh.
There were like 8 of us that, that I think Larry kind of was pretty proud of that group and what was to come. And then 4 years later, Phil Bryant and I are looking at each other, at graduation and stuff. We're like, what happened to the other 10 or whatever,
Literally, true story. We're right behind third base in shallow left field. I'm a freshman, and it's in the fall, and Cal gets us together, and he says, guys, you're not going to believe how fast these 4 years go by. And we're going, yeah, right. Well, let me tell you what. Couldn't believe how fast those 4 years, or let's just make it 40 years now. How fast those 40 years went by.
Yeah. You're exactly right.
It's amazing.
You're thinking you're going to, be there forever. When you're young, you want things to happen quickly, but as you get older, you want them to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, that's exactly.
But no,
right.
4 years, went by fast, and so
your first year, you won the national championship
Yes.
as a freshman. So you're thinking, well, this is easy.
Truly, I thought, man, Larry keeps recruiting like this. We're going to wind up with 2 or 3 rings, but.
Did Larry stay all 4 years you were there?
I think after my
87
senior
was his
year,
first
he went over to Tech.
87.
Okay. But, you had people like Bob Fannin. You had
Oh, my gosh. Bob could hit, couldn't he?
God, could he ever. David Bowles out of Leveland was the MVP, I think, pitching MVP of the World Series that year or something.
From Leveland.
Yes, and I mean, he was a senior. But these are the people that we competed with in the fall.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was it was normal. I could always hit, so I think if you can hit, you're going to find your way in the lineup somewhere. And I always felt that way. And I thought, well, if I don't get in the defensive part of it this year, it'll be okay. We'll get. But I wound up starting at first, got hurt, and then Bob. If you got Bob, man, I mean, you're like, yeah, move the freshman out for a little bit and then bring Bob. Bob took over there for the rest of the year. When I came back, I DH'd. And but when Bob hit a home run, it was he had
It didn't hit the back of the fence.
He had light pole power.
Yeah.
And we went that first series. We went to California, went to Whittier, and if you've been at Whittier, you've got left field, and then there's a mountain where the cars are. You can see the cars driving down the mountain, coming down. And Bob hits one up on the street up there, and I'm a freshman, and I'm like, I can hit, but I hit for average, and I can go to the right side, and I can if I need to yank one, I can try to. But you're talking about full-fledged power. That guy,
yeah, he did.
I was amazed when I saw that, and I was like, I don't get that, But
we played that team over at Lubbock. We played them at Lubbock Christian when I was at Tech, and in the ninth inning, I went over to Larry and I said, "Well, when I got up this morning, I thought 17 runs might be plenty. Y'all beat us 18-17." I said, "I really thought 17 would be plenty."
No doubt.
I mean, it was just
no doubt. Now we had some good ball games with Tech with you guys at that time.
Yep.
And
they were both good teams, both hitting teams.
And that's what I'm saying. Larry always lined up the best competition. If you remember, we had Wichita State come in that year and play both of us.
Y'all always go out to Arizona.
Yeah,
and play
but Wichita comes in, they play us, and then they go play y'all, or vice versa. And
he always played Texas. He always wanted to play University of Texas.
Yes, and man, I think he had some success too.
Yeah, he did.
Got a good text here. All right, this is our buddy Tony Pena.
There we go.
You remember Pinata?
Hey, Tony. Yes.
He said, Hector once hit a line drive off the left field lights in the fall, and the pitcher walked off and never came back.
Oh, God.
He just quit right there.
Oh, my goodness.
You give up that.
Well, you look for a sign. This is my sign. My pitching days are over.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, we're visiting with Hector Limon, former Estacado great in baseball and football, and going to the Lubbock ISD Athletic Hall of Honor. He's already a member of the 1998 inductee of the Lubbock Christian Hall of Honor. And this is, you finally get along here, Hector. You run out of Hall of Fames and Hall of Honors to be in, but you've had a tremendous career. I mean, you ought to be in every one that's out there.
Yeah, I told my kids the other day, my sons, I said, this is going to be my last hoorah. So,
Well, it's good that the grandkids are on the ground. That's one good thing about, because I looked at, David kept listing off your stats, and I'm sitting there going, I'm on the board, and I'm sitting there going, why in the world didn't we put him in 4 years ago?
Well, there was, when we first started, we initially began to look. Of course, there was a group that Jerry Gray was in that group, and Lewis Kelly was in that group, and Bobby Magel was in that group, and Craig Elo, Cammy Etheridge, so there's been some. But then we began to look at older people that were still around. Some had already passed, but we try to pick up the older people first and get them if they deserve to be in. You don't get to be in just because you're old.
It's a good plan.
But you've got to have the stats and the career to do it. And then this just goes to show you, when you've got a Hector Limon that's going into this class. We started in 2011. Here we are in 2024, and Hector Limon, that tells you how great of athletes and coaches we have in Lubbock ISD.
No doubt.
Lubbock Sports, a century of champions. So this is the last century. Hector Limon, you're still alive. 1964 to still alive. Estacado, Lubbock Christian, EHS varsity baseball and football, All-State, two-time All-State tournament, 30th round pick of the Cincinnati Reds. We didn't even talk about that yet. Teacher, assistant at Estacado, head coach, Levelland, Plainview, Estacado, Midland Lee.
Big career.
He had quite a coaching career. But the Pro Ball, let's hear about that. You went where?
I didn't. I got drafted out of high school.
Yeah.
And I had just turned 18, and I remember Ullman, who was the guy that scouted me or us, I guess, in West Texas for Cincinnati, always talked about trying to get me signed early and using the next couple of years to get, ready and to progress. And but long story, my dad was really it was good to have my dad around to negotiate at that. Not really negotiate, but just to kind of take care of my path maybe.
Yeah.
And long story short, we wound up at Lubbock Christian, great program. Coach Hayes, and that's another thing. I think the good Lord has just taken care of me for my entire life, because I've been able to play for people who you could trust, people who are going to be good to you and were going to be firm with you when they needed to. Everything wasn't always, peaches and cream. There were times when I got my rear eaten on and things like that, but that's just part of growing, but I never had anybody mistreat me. I never had anybody teach me anything that was, devaluing. I just feel like the path set before me. The good Lord put good caretakers.
Were you a troublemaker, Hector?
No,
Did you get in trouble
I
much?
did the things that every kid does. You want to aggravate your dad a little bit every now and then, and your mom.
You don't seem
I
like
got
a
chased
troublemaker.
out of the house a couple of times by my mom just for nagging her, egging her on about stuff, and then I'm like, okay, time to go.
Yeah, it's time to go.
No, just kind of normal.
You seem very disciplined.
But baseball was always the thing that I loved the most.
Yeah.
And what made me like football as much as I did was Coach Romero at Estacado and Coach Kelly. If you played for Coach Kelly, you look at him and he's this imposing figure, and I started playing in his program my sophomore year, and you talk about an imposing figure.
Yeah, Lewis Kelly was.
I'm telling you, everything was under control with him, and but if you ever heard him talk and heard him, address a team and some of the values that he had, people didn't know him as well as we did, but I mean, he's top notch.
Yeah.
He's top notch.
He's one of the best I've ever been around.
So at Estacado, I played for. I mean, the coaching staff was just immaculate.
Yeah.
All right, another text on the personal text line. Let's see. Actually, it was from Johnny Grimes. Johnny Grimes says, Ash, tell Hector congrats. Great player, great guy. And Grimey was on the tech team that
He's
got
a
beat
catcher.
18-17 or 17-16.
Yeah. I'd go up to hit and I'd always talk to Grimes.
Yeah.
So
Y'all both great.
he's
Hector,
awesome.
music's
that
playing.
dude could catch and play.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to go back, and Tony Pena could hit. So I forgot to say that earlier.
I played a lot of fast pitch with Tony Pena. I know what Tony Pena can do.
But Grimy, man,
hey, real
that
quickly,
dude was
we got
tough.
about 15 or 20 seconds.
Okay.
Congratulations to you. Well deserved.
We're proud of
you. Should have been in 3 or 4 years ago, but you're going in this year.
Appreciate it.
And that'll be forever, Hector.
I appreciate
Congratulations
that.
on your great career. I'm telling you, you're
Thank you
special.
so much. Thanks
You're
for having me.
And great
All
guy.
right,
Enjoyed
Hector
being
Limon.
here.
Sports talk conversations with a good laugh mixed in. This is the Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
The Rawls course to Texas Tech. Boy, it's really helped our golf program. We got it going on, I'm telling you. Texas Tech golf and so many Greg Sands and JoJo Roberts are doing a great job. And you ought to go play. And if you're having a tournament, go play it at the Rawls, because all you got to do is tell them we're having a tournament and it's all done. They just take care of everything.
Well, and when you tell people you're playing at the Rawls, they're
excited.
Way more excited.
Hey, J&W Services, Lenco Distributors. I don't know if you remember them in Midland when you were there. It's Brent Beck, Scott Blakely, and they are Texas Tech guys.
Yep, Scott Blakely actually.
He's a Littlefield guy.
Yeah, their tie with the Greg Sherwood Award this week. Blakely's dad was the legend, the godfather
he
of
was.
Littlefield football, and so I call Scott every year and talk to him, and I always enjoy talking to him about the old Louisville.
He will take no credit for how good he was.
Yeah.
And Scott Blakely was
We'd
a
like
great
to have him
running
on the
back.
show, but he's
afraid we'll brag on him or something.
worried about his
He was a
reputation.
great running back.
Mm-hmm. Sure he was.
I mean, he's built like a tank.
Mm-hmm.
And but he's was a great player for his dad. That's interesting you say that about his dad because his dad's legendary.
Yeah, his dad, he was the superintendent when I was the head coach at Freona, and when he spoke, I always listened.
Because he was good. Well, now he's working at down there.
Yes, sir.
At
He's
Lenco Distributors and J&W Services, and they built a tremendous company down there, taking care of the people.
Yes, sir.
Keeping everybody up and running. All right, James Morton is here. He was the head football coach at Monterey. He was then the head football coach at Midland Lee. Mm-hmm. Then he was with the Eastland Mavericks, where he grew up.
Yes.
And
wow,
coached.
You knew there were the Mavericks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, because it pissed me off they had that Longhorn deal.
Yeah.
But they called them the Mavericks. Yeah. That's their logo, that Longhorn.
Yeah.
But
as long as it's not burnt orange.
Yeah.
I have nothing against the actual Longhorn. It's
the cow.
The color.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole. Yeah. And
I've learned a lot more about that rivalry having go through the last couple of years.
You have?
Yeah. Yeah, you used to. I was just kind of, Tech gets mad at them, Longhorns, whatever. Now I'm like.
It's serious, isn't it?
Yeah, I went down there this year. I was all bristled up, ready to go.
And his son is Baron Morton. I don't know whether we mentioned that.
Who's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of a big deal around these parts.
Oh, well.
You not like wear jerseys with Baron's number on it to the game.
I can't say
Sonny?
I can't say
I can see where she would.
Oh yeah,
Sonny does.
Sonny's all blinged out. I'll tell you a worse story. My sister is eat up with it, and we go to one of my aunt's funerals.
Oh no!
And she gets out of the car and she's got a Red Raider #2 button on or something. I said, Janie, what are you doing?
It's a funeral, Jay.
It's a funeral. And she's like, well, I'm proud of him. I'm like, stop.
Like you're not. Like, where's your button?
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm proud of what he does off the field. I want to be proud of that, not what he does on the field. So anyway, it's trying to keep all that balance is the deal.
Speaking of all that balanced, when he came here, there really wasn't NIL or wasn't legal NIL, and now there is.
Yes, sir.
I mean, how big a part of that is college football right now?
It's I don't know. They say that they're going to get it reined back in with what they're going to do now, and I guess the universities
tell him to seize the moment, take advantage of it before they get rules.
Think I'm leaving, Coach.
Well, I think they're still. I mean, the universities are going to have to dish it out now, which, you think about budgets and all that stuff.
Let me ask you this, Coach, because did people come after Barron? They did, didn't they?
Yes.
There was recruiting him from Tech.
Yes.
Come play for us, and we'll give you $1 million.
And it's acceptable.
I know it.
Yes.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
That's okay.
And at that time, I was still the coach, and so they could call and, well, hey, how's your son doing, that kind of stuff. They're not calling about the Division III walk-on that we have. That they're asking a question. Like I don't smell that
And
already.
by the way, how's Barrett?
Yeah.
Is he happy?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Does he need money?
Yeah.
We can
Barrett
help.
need a little walking around money.
I've seen your truck you drive, Coach. You might want to talk to us a little bit more. No, it's all good. And I always credit Coach McGuire and his staff of. High school coaches always pride themselves on relationships that they build, and those guys do it like
He's the best, isn't he? Have you ever seen anything like it?
Yeah, they do it like the high school, But what I'm trying to say is they just build relationships with them, and they care about all of them. Now, some of them are going to help them win more games than others, but they treat the walk-ons. I've asked Barron that kind of question. I was like, well, how does he treat? He's like, treats him just like he does everybody else. I'm like, that's a huge mark in my books, because that's the way I always wanted to run a program.
Well, you let every kid play it.
No.
Well, no, I mean you let them be on the team.
Yeah, there you go. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
You let them be on the team.
And that's
You had 62 seniors one year, Coach.
Yeah, Coach.
I've got the roster. I can't even get in the press box with my rosters.
Yeah, Coach Odom told me, because Coach Odom was my neighbor.
Yeah,
right across the
I'm
street.
sure he did tell you.
Oh God, he would wear me. He would get on me about that. Well, you're gonna have headaches. I said, Coach, I've talked to him, and they've already heard the conversation before the season starts. And
You'll never play.
Yeah. It's going to be a really, really odd situation if you are in the game. We're real far ahead or real far behind.
And you still don't play.
Yeah. I got a few of those emails too.
Think of all the uniforms you had to order.
Yeah, y'all were up by. Yeah, Coach Sherwood liked that though. He didn't
care.
He didn't raise an eyebrow about that one. And the other part of it is I felt like athletics reached those kids, and some of them just needed that in their life.
And
and it just gave us a platform to teach them more about life than the actual.
It's good. It really is. But you really did have 62 seniors.
Yeah.
I think that might have been Taylor's senior year.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Which is fine until on seniors say after. We're at the school. We're at the school after the final. Got beat in the playoffs by Potts and Leon in overtime, and they get to go on, and we got to go home. So we go out to the school to greet the kids when they get there. Well, they don't come. They don't come. They don't come. And we're going, something must be wrong with the buses. They don't come. And what he had done is he'd let every senior in the locker room at Lowry Field say their say.
Yeah.
And when you got 60-something seniors, the parents wait. That's what happens.
Yeah, it's
on
kind
that.
of our closing thing we always do is give the seniors a chance to. And some of them don't talk, but a lot of them would. And I thought it was always good to pass down the torch and let those juniors or sophomores hear what the program meant to them was more than anything else. So
that's good. You did so many great things. You really were.
I had a great staff,
great coach,
and kids and parents were.
It was.
I look back on it. This was.
It was all you. Who was your best coach you ever had?
I can't limit it to one.
Hey, real quick before we leave those 60-something seniors, a kid doesn't play. He's out there 3 years. He doesn't play a lick. He don't step off the deal. Does he letter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that lettering deal changed.
If they were in good standings, then we did.
Okay.
And they should. They put in a lot of effort.
No, that's right.
A lot of
time.
Practice.
I struggle with that some, but that's. I felt like that was exactly right.
Well, it used to be. I mean, if you didn't play this many quarters, you did not letter. And there's something to be said for that. I'm not against that, but these kids come out every day and practice and don't ever get to play. That's.
I mean, summer commitments that they have now to work out. So
it's a lot.
Good. I saw Monterey Plainsman last night. He came up to me and I can't. When they coach, you remember me? And I'm like, 20 years ago, and you've changed, I've changed, and then if I can talk to him a little bit, I can usually figure it out. But he told me his name. I was like, yeah, you were from Atkins, and you were a receiver in the corner. And he's like, yes.
True story, guys. He'd go over and introduce it like the Evans banquet or something, and these kids would come up, and he would call every one of them by name. And they're not over there at Monterey yet.
Yeah.
They're over at the junior high, and that junior high kid that ain't played a lick.
Yeah.
Bob Jones,
He did it over at Irons and over at Cavazos, wherever he needed to go.
Now, Coach Henderson would get mad at me, or Coach Loudmilk, if I did that one. So
yeah,
pretty impressive.
Well, thank you, guys.
It really is. I was always amazed.
Love the kids and love my time here for sure.
I wish that we had these high school coaches luncheons when you were here, because I could have had some real fun.
We did. They were at the 50-yard line.
I know, but they changed now.
Yeah, I know.
I get to interview the coaches every week,
well,
and I just.
Yeah, we did the TV thing after the press conference. So.
I know it.
Yeah,
we still do that. But
yeah,
Coach Ball took us to a whole new level on those. It's like a banquet every week.
That's awesome.
It really is. You ought to come back one time for it. You'd love it. Coach Odom, you sit with Coach Odom. He's still there. He gets you squared away finally, maybe.
Yeah. He'll question a couple of calls that I made, which he needs to, because they were the wrong call.
What's so good about Coach Odom is he doesn't know how to whisper at all.
Yeah.
I mean,
people that don't hear well don't whisper well either.
No, he's just, and I'm up there talking, and I just look over and I go, Coach, we can all hear you. He's something else. All right. Well, the game is tonight. It's at Plains Capital Park, Lowry Field. It starts at 7 o'clock, and the home team
is the Red.
The Red. They're on the west, and the visitors are on the east, the blue team.
Yes, sir.
And
Coach Welps from River Road did a great job. He's the blue team head coach. And then Coach Pointer, who's got a lot of ties from this area too, he's the head coach from Seminole, and they both done a good job and real quality men too. So They've got their kids prepared. And, you talked earlier about how it's not sloppy, and they really only have
It's unbelievable how well they
4 or
play.
5 practices, and they have to evaluate their personnel. Of course, they watch video before, and they get an idea, but they really do an amazing job of being able to put it all together and make it a quality product.
Well, it's believable to me because these are the better
They're good
and the
ones.
better kids usually aren't
They're good players.
dumb. They're they're the better kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they can play, and it was just so well. I've been disappointed. I've been doing it a long time. Every year I'm impressed, and I hope this year continues that.
Yes,
I
sir.
think it will.
Yes, sir.
Well, Coach Pointer, I like those guys. Coach Welps.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, Gary. They were both talking last night, and they just go, we've been involved here. We come here to watch this. Our kids come play. He goes, we've never been the coaches of this. He goes, you can't believe how they take care of us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, food, fun, movies, whatever you went to, that place out there with bowling, main event.
Oh gosh,
Yeah,
you can
they just
take them out there
entertain
and
them.
spend hours.
And the kids, I talked to some of the kids, they had a time of their life. They love it.
Yeah, it's a good deal. It's real quality, and it's for a great cause. And I think that's one thing when you know how we are when there's a traumatic event that happens in someone's life. You're there for them for that moment, and then 6 months later, it never
gone,
happens.
yeah.
Well, being able to call Tanner back up and make him feel
Tanner
part of
talks
this.
every year. I shouldn't have read all that stuff because
Yeah.
he said a lot of that things that was on
and
his
Joe,
bio.
it's good that they're and as a coaching profession too, it shows that we care.
Yeah.
So that's
And Tanner Cook, it just had a little baby boy about 6-7 months ago. I
he's
could
a
tell.
good-looking dude.
He really
Yeah,
is.
he is.
And Angela, his wife, and his parents are always there supporting him. You know, I didn't say this last night, but I was listening. I was in the state quarterfinals, and I was listening to the ball game on the radio that day because they were really good, and Coach Taylor, and they kept talking about Tanner Cook is hurt, and they can't tell what for sure is going to happen. He's over on the sideline, and I don't know if he's coming back in or not. That was the game that he got an injury. He's had all kinds of surgeries, and when you get up there and listen to him, and he has trouble with his speech a little bit, but you're just amazed at his message.
He
Every year
he lives it.
he lives it. Yeah,
He sends me motivational texts, and I get goosebumps when I get a text from him. He's living it. And
He's
Joe's
the
the
real
same
deal.
way. Joe's not around as much anymore, but Joe, he paints. How's the paintbrush
with his mouth.
Oh wow!
And Steve told me that Jan, his wife, buys portraits all the time from him of what he's painted. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Called Joe the tomato farmer. He loves raising his tomatoes.
Oh, does he?
Oh,
Really?
yeah.
Where is he? Is he? He's down in Odessa.
He's in
still?
Odessa, and doing very, very well. Graduated from UTPB and is still rocking and rolling. So.
Joe Bean.
All right, we don't want to get you in here and not talk a little bit about. Here's a question I've got.
Okay.
There's a lot of people go to Tech football games. You and Sonny sit up in the stands. Now it's one thing if your kid's the offensive lineman, but if your kid's the quarterback, and some people maybe they've been out tailgating, maybe they're just jerks, but they say things that have to.
Do they know that your boy out there?
Well,
oh yeah, they
that's
do.
what I
'Cause
talked to
Sonny's
Sonny.
all decked out.
Yeah, I talked to Sonny about it. Of course, you got the two sisters too, and so. But I've talked to him about that. I'm like, hey, sometime after a game, y'all might
Just lay low.
So they've kind of toned that stuff down a lot more. But yeah, Sonny's still a proud mom. But yeah, there are times. One time, Sonny, this was like 2 years ago, and Barron's just in for a series here or whatever there, and some guy pops up and says something, and he's like 4 rows down. It's another parent. We're sitting in the parent section, and it's another parent, and she goes after him. I'm like, stop right now. And so
now by goes after him, you talking about verbally or
yes,
physically?
she verbally went after him.
Somebody get Sonny off that guy down there.
Yeah. Like, well, if somebody else did their job, then he wouldn't be in that situation. And I was like, stop. Yeah.
She's making the argument.
Yeah.
for
Oh,
him.
yeah. She was. I was like, don't make it. It just becomes. And then all the rest of the parents are like, oh. So yeah.
Terry,
Yeah.
she turns around when I was coaching. One guy's just wearing me out, and she finally just turns around and says, "How much did you pay to get in here?" He said $4 or whatever it was. He goes, well, I'll gladly reimburse you that $4 if you'll just leave. So that's my husband down there.
Yeah.
He didn't leave.
That's a good call.
He didn't leave, but he acted better.
You know, it's so funny how people, they don't realize what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I was sitting up at the Texas football game one year, and Barry Wood was sitting in front of me, who was the First Baptist Church University minister, and he was a fireball. He was tough. Anyway, these two guys are sitting behind us, and they're yelling, "Go to hell, Texas," over and over and over at the top of their lungs. And finally halftime comes. And Barry turns to him and says, "We don't really want him to go to hell, do we?" That's what he said to him. And they go, "Well, no." And, so then Barry and who he was with left at halftime. Mm-hmm. And those guys are still sitting there. I couldn't wait to hear what they were going to say. They didn't do it the rest of the game. Yeah. And it made an impact on them.
There's ways to handle things, and there's ways to not handle them. And I was usually on the not.
No way.
Yeah. You've been listening to the Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby podcast from Double T 97.3. Catch the show live Saturday mornings from 9 to noon on Double T 97.3 FM or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app.